Hey there, superstar. In this video, I'm going to talk about how your energy affects others and how you can spread good vibes everywhere. Energy is contagious. Now, I don't even need to convince you of this because you can go and look up all sorts of science that supports what I just said. The fact is that how we show up in the world rubs off on others and vice versa. People we surround ourselves with ultimately rub off on us. Any of us who's spent any amount of time with a difficult, complaining, angry, resentful person knows how easy it is to pick up those feelings and emotions. So in this video, I want to talk about why it's important to take charge of our own emotional and energetic state and how we can cultivate certain ways of being in order to be a more positive influence in the world. Now, when I say energy is contagious and there's science to back it up, I'm not going to dive deep into the science, but I'm going to share a few key points with you. The first is something called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are neurons in our brains that essentially identify with those same neurons in other people and connect and reflect back what the other person is giving to us. That probably makes no sense at all. So let me explain what I mean with an example. And it's a really great example because it is at least it's the story of how mirror neurons were discovered. Supposedly, there were these scientists in a lab and they were studying monkeys, and they would give the monkeys bananas and they would study the pleasure centers in the brain that would light up when they'd give the monkeys bananas. So these monkeys had like electrodes on their brains. They would give the monkeys bananas and they would observe how the monkeys' brains would light up when they had bananas. One day, quite by accident, apparently this was a two-way mirror. The monkeys could see the scientists and the scientists could see the monkeys. The scientists went out and got ice cream and came back with ice cream, and they were eating the ice cream, which kind of eat like a banana, right? Well, the monkeys saw them eating the ice creams, and the monkeys' pleasure centers in their brains lit up just as if they were eating their own bananas. And the scientists were like, whoa, what is this? And that's how they discovered mirror neurons, that we have neurons in our brains that basically light up around an experience of somebody else doing something. So if, for example, somebody's joyful and happy, our mirror neurons kind of spark up joyful and happy. And if somebody's mirror neurons are fearful and dreadful, then our mirror neurons spike that up. And so that's one way that our energy is contagious, but it's only one. Another way that our energy is contagious has to do with our heart signal. The heart is a muscle and it pumps blood, right? And it also sends out an electromagnetic signal. It's very easy. We can measure this. We've been able to measure this signal for decades. It's nothing new. Just like we measure the brain signals, except that the brain signals are much smaller, much tinier waves, much more difficult to measure. We have to put electrodes right on our head in order to measure that. Whereas our heart, we can measure that signal out sometimes up to 7 or more feet out from the body. So our heart sends out a big signal into the world that extends beyond us. So we have like an electromagnetic field around us sent out by the heart. And what the coolest part of this is that signal is a wave. And as we know, waves encode information. Just like our cell phone has a wave, and that's how information travels from cell phone to cell phone, is through these waves, and radio waves and TV waves. There's all sorts of waves all over. We're not going to get into what effect that has on our body. But back to the point at hand, which is that our heart sends out a wave. And scientists have studied, well, what's the information encoded in our heart wave? And it turns out that the information encoded in our heart wave is our emotional state. In other words, we are constantly projecting our emotional state out into the world. We are literally emotion projecting machines walking around. Think about the last time you went to a concert or to a football game or to a protest, right? All those people getting together also creates a field of energy that sends out a signal even bigger, right? And you've probably felt it, but maybe you didn't know what it was. The point of all of this is that when you become aware that our energy impacts others, that our energy impacts the world, that our energy collides and collects and collaborates and amplifies with other energies, it becomes clear that we might want to stop and take responsibility and empowerment for our own emotional state, for the energy that we are pumping out into the world. Now, before I get into how to do this, I do want to invite you to take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and consider posting a comment below and letting me know what you think of all this. How can you take responsibility for your own emotional state, for your own energy that you are cultivating and that you are projecting into the world? Well, the first is to just become aware of where you are right this moment. This would be a great time to practice. What is the emotional state you're in right now? If you're watching this video, perhaps you're feeling my mirror neurons. Maybe you're feeling activated by my heart signal, right? Maybe you're feeling excited and a little curious, and maybe you have some desire to elevate your emotional state, right? What are you feeling in this moment? And then starting to slow down and just check in on what are you feeling at any moment? And maybe noticing when you wake up in the morning, what's the default? How do you wake up? Do you wake up anxious? Do you wake up excited? Do you wake up grateful? And that's just your default. It doesn't mean it's the way you have to show up the rest of the day. And in fact, the more aware you become of how you default, the more you can take control of it. So I do in the mornings a morning practice. And what I'm doing in my morning practice is I'm cultivating the energy that I want to project into the world. And I'm cultivating the energy that I want to feel in my day. So I'm cultivating abundance. I'm cultivating gratitude. I'm cultivating contribution. I'm cultivating love, right? We can go on Insight Timer. It's an app on your iPhone. They have millions of meditations, 5 minutes long, 10 minutes long, an hour long, where you can choose what you're trying to cultivate. I want a gratitude meditation. I want a loving kindness meditation, whatever it is. But doing that first thing in the morning is a great way to take charge of the energy that you're going to show up with for the rest of the day. Another thing to consider is changing your language. Now, a lot of people use this language. I know I did, and now I catch myself. The language of he makes me feel worthless, or she makes me angry, or that person drives me crazy. All of those statements are statements where you've given your power to someone else. Driving in Miami frustrates me, right? So that now you've given your power away to this experience of driving in this certain place. Or this person makes me angry or drives me crazy. You've given your power to that person. Or, some situation. Or not having money makes me feel like I'm not successful. So now money has the power, not you. So just noticing in your language when you give away the power of your emotional and energetic state. Our language is such a beautiful clue provider, but some of us are so busy speaking so fast and generating content and answering people and thinking about the next thing we're going to say that we don't even slow down enough to listen to what we're saying and what we're programming inside of our own brains with what we're saying. Because every time we say something like that, we are reinforcing it, because we are not only saying the thing, we are listening to ourselves say the thing. And our subconscious mind accepts everything as true. So if you say that person drives me crazy, you are now not only projecting that, right, and giving the power away, you are reminding yourself that that is true. You are claiming that as true. So our language is so powerful. And that's why, I really discourage people from saying things sarcastically. I discourage people from self-deprecation, even humorously, because we believe these things that we say about ourselves. And so when we say things like, oh, I'm so stupid, or I'm just an airhead, or I'm just a dumb blonde, or I've got ADD, we are saying these things, we are reinforcing them, and we are cultivating the energy of that and projecting that out into the world. Oh, I'm just kidding. The subconscious mind doesn't know that. The other person's subconscious mind doesn't know that. Just watching language is such an important part of this whole process. And then the next thing is to take responsibility for your own feelings, to bring them back to you. So we've said already, projecting them out onto someone else gives that the power. So taking back the power and reclaiming it and restating it, like, I feel this way. I have the experience of scarcity when these things happen. And just the simple act of taking it back and putting it in an I feel, I have this experience is even better. Rather than I am this way. I am stupid, or I am distracted, or I am ADD, or I am, right? Like owning that is different from having the experience of it, which at least allows us to separate a little bit and not have the energy be us, right? So if we're trying to cultivate a more positive energy, we might want to separate from those experiences and those things that are not us, but they're just experiences that we're having. They're not our identity. So remembering to bring it back to you to look in the mirror, like, okay, instead of she drives me crazy, I get crazy when I experience this. Why? What is that triggering in me? How can I own it? Wow, well, I have a wound from when I was a little kid that my mother used to do this thing and then I would feel this way. Oh, okay, maybe she doesn't drive me crazy. I'm getting driven crazy by my own experience, by my own wound, by my own trigger. And owning that experience. This is one of the hardest things to do in life. And one of the most liberating and empowering things we can do is to take back our power and own our own experience, own our emotions. And so ultimately, taking on this idea that we can be the change we want to see in the world. I can't tell you how often I see, if the very few times I watch on the news or in like the media out there of people like claiming to be like all about rights and helping people, but then they're coming from the energy of judgment and hate and fear. Be the change. You want people to get along? Well, get along. Love. Practice cultivating these emotions that are going to serve you and that are going to serve the world. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is every single morning. Create a morning practice just to cultivate the emotions that you want to be and that you want to project. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're looking to bring some of this into your business and into your life, then I would love to connect with you. Visit superstaractivator.com/go to find out about my programs and services and how I can help you build and grow your business with these principles as the foundation.